Hey guys, good evening. Guys, if you are able to see my screen, just type S in the chat box so that we can get started. Great. So thanks for the confirmation. Good evening, everyone. And today we are going to continue with the constructors, overloading, inheritance, and overriding concepts. Okay. Yesterday I covered the purpose of the constructors as part of class and object-oriented concepts. I already covered about class and object, and as part of the class and object I already covered the exact purpose of the constructors and how constructors will simplify the initialization of the class variables for a particular specific object that I told you, right? The simplest way to initialize the class variables for each and every object is by using the constructors, which will be automatically called when you create objects for the class. That's what we have seen yesterday, right? So just give me a second. Today we will continue. We'll go to the next level anyhow. So hope you have watched the recording also again, because yesterday's topic was very important. If you have not watched the yesterday concept, I recommend you to watch it again, practice it. I also gave an assignment, okay, regarding animal. Okay, if not today, if you have not done the assignment already, you can do it again, guys. Okay, you can take time. Okay, at least by the end of this week or something, you can plan. Okay. Next. So I'll just close all this stuff. And here I'll create a new package. I'll just name this package as I have to create a package, right? I'll create a package with the name constructors package constructors pack. Okay, here I'll create a new class. I'll name this class as you can give any name. You can give any name, like say I'll give sample as a name for this, or okay, just give me a second. Okay, I'll give a name like, you can give any name, guys. What is the name I would like to give? Let's say sample only. Okay, I'll just give some sample name. I don't want to create main method here. I want to make it separate class without any main method. Now, in the sample class, if you have to create a constructor, the constructor will look similar to the methods. You already know that constructor will look similar to the methods. Public, you can say, will the constructors have any return type, guys? Yes or no? Will the constructors have any return type? Do you have to specify void or something here? No, constructors will not have return type. And the name of the constructor should match with the name of what? Name of the constructor should match with the name of class. Then name of the class, I'll give it here. Okay. Now I'll do something like this. Okay, like this. Here I'll write system.out.println. System.out.println. I'll say inside sample constructor. Inside sample constructor, I'll say. Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll just save this. Here I'll create one more package, a sub package, guys. Okay, I have to take multiple examples here. I'll just say .1. This example is .1, guys. A lot of other examples I have. So that's the reason I'm just moving under the one package here. Say okay. You see under the constructor package dot under sub package 1, we have this class, guys. Okay, I'll create one more. I'll create one more class. I'll just name this class. You don't have to create a separate Java file, guys. Okay, you don't have to create a separate Java file if you want. Okay, we can do one thing. here itself, you don't have to create a separate class. Here itself, you write public static void main string of args. Yesterday, I have created the main method in a separate class. It's not compulsory. In the same class, I created the main method. That's okay. Now, if I have to call this constructor, what I have to write inside the main method, guys? Tell me. If I have to call this constructor in the main method, what I have to do? Tell me. In the main method, what I have to do if I have to call this constructor of the sample class? I have to simply create the object. I have to create the object. Using which keyword we can create an object for this sample class? Using which keyword? New sample, right? New sample. Yes, you have to provide the circular brackets so that this will become the constructor calling statement. Is it compulsory for me to create the object reference and declare it? To call the constructor, is it compulsory for me or it's optional? Using this statement, will the constructor will be called yes or no? It's optional now. Okay. Using this statement, anyhow, the constructor will be called. New sample constructor calling statement is already there. This sample statement will be called and inside sample constructor will be printed in the output for us. Right click here and say run as Java application. See what is happening. Inside sample constructor got printed. That means constructor has been called yes or no? Constructor has been called yes or no, guys? Is a constructor called using this new sample statement? This sample statement, sample having the circular brackets is nothing but the constructor calling statement has called the constructor. That's good. So everyone is clear? Everyone clear with this? Whatever the program I have written is clear for everyone? You can make this main method part of the same class, or you can make this main method part of another class also, not a problem, guys. Okay. There also we have to create an object to call the constructor. Here also we have to call the create an object for the class to call this particular constructor. Okay. So someone was asking me yesterday, right? Can we write main method inside the same class? Why we are writing it separately? Yesterday purpose was different because I want to have that particular car class template as a separate entity, separate thing. So I don't want to disturb the code. So I made the main method part of another class, but you can also write the main method inside the same sample class and create a new sample kind of thing. The sample method if you create an object for this class, automatically the constructor of the class will be called. 11th line code will be executed. When you run this code, where the execution will start from, Vishwa? When I run this code, execution will start from where? Main method, right? Control will go to the main method, and here new sample will be executed. When new sample will be executed, when you are creating an object for the sample class, as part of the object creation itself, you are calling a constructor. Here, where is a constructor? This is a constructor. The constructor of the sample class will be called, and this particular method will be executed. Clear, Vishwa? Now clear? Clear how the execution is happening is clear? Got it, now? Yeah. I'll go step by step only, guys. I don't want to make you guys confused or something. I'll create one more package here. I'll create one more package with the name 2 dot, instead of 1, right? I'll say dot 2. Finish. You see, now we have 2 sub packages. Under one sub package already we have the sample class, and under 2 also I'll create another class. I'll just name this also sample only. Okay. You cannot create classes having the same name inside the same package, but you can create the same. For example, if you want to create the same class with the name sample here, you see type already exists kind of error is coming. You are not getting finish button because already sample class with a Java file with the name sample is already there. That's why within a single package you can create duplicate classes are not possible. In another package you can create. In another package you can create the same name class. That's okay. This class is different because it belongs to different package, and this class is different because it belongs to different package. Click on finish. Okay. Inside this, I don't want to create any constructor, but I would like to write main control space, press enter. This main method will come. Okay. I would like to create an object for this new sample. Using the new keyword, writing this particular statement, I'm going to create an object for this sample class. Now here, is a constructor calling happening? Is a constructor calling happening, guys? For the sample class, is a constructor calling happening? Yes. But do you have any constructor in this code? Do you have any constructor in this code? Do you have any constructor having the sample name in this code? Then why the error is not coming? I'm calling the constructor which doesn't exist in this code. Why I'm not getting any error is the question.
I think Java has created by default.
Yes, there is a default. There is a default inbuilt. There is a default inbuilt empty constructor. Empty constructor. Okay, everyone type in the chat box. There is a default hidden. Default hidden. There is a default hidden inbuilt empty. Everyone write all these 4 words. There's a default constructor which is in a hidden state, which is inbuilt, and empty constructor. Whenever you create a class, right, Java will automatically create a hidden empty constructor inside that. Okay, we cannot see that. Okay, a default constructor that we cannot see that, which is in hidden state, okay, which is in empty constructor will be there. Okay, so here internally, whether you write like this, okay, this kind of constructor is there already. I'll put a comment here. Otherwise, I'll just do one thing. Just select this. Say control/. This kind of constructor is being maintained, guys. You see, I commented it out. Whether you write this code, what will happen if you write public sample, then the default hidden empty constructor will be overridden. Will be overridden means the one that you have written will be replacing the kind of default constructor, that is default hidden empty constructor that is maintained by the sample class. But here, if you don't write, internally Java maintains this kind of constructor. Internally an inbuilt default hidden empty constructor will be maintained. That's why even though you call this constructor, you're calling the constructor calling statement. Are you getting an error? Are you getting any error? No. This kind of hidden empty constructor which doesn't have any code. An empty means it doesn't have any code inside it, or no logic is there, even a print statement is not there. And it is hidden because it is not visible to us. When you create a class, a hidden constructor will be created internally by Java, and which is kind of empty, guys. So here when you say new sample, this hidden empty constructor created by Java will be called for that particular class. Is there anything inside the constructor? Is there anything inside the default hidden empty constructor created by the sample class by Java? No. That's the reason if you run the code, you will not get any error, but you will not get any output also. You will not get any output also. You see, there is no output here. Okay, because that is an hidden empty constructor, but you will not get any compiler error. Able to understand, guys, how hidden inbuilt empty constructor is maintained by whenever you create, not only this class, any class you create. In Java, if you create any class, it will maintain a default hidden inbuilt empty constructor. Okay, so whenever you create objects, right, that's the reason. Even though the constructor calling statement is there, even though you don't see any kind of constructor being there inside a class, also you'll not get errors because a hidden empty constructor will be called. Okay, and that doesn't have any code, so nothing will happen. Fine. This is all about the hidden empty constructor, guys. But what if you create one more constructor, then that particular constructor will be called on top of that. Now I'll go to the next one. I'll just create if you create, Vishwa is asking me what is the purpose of default constructor if you create the constructor explicitly. When you create the constructor explicitly, the default hidden constructor will be gone. It will be nowhere in Java. Java will not maintain until you create a explicit constructor. Default constructor will be maintained by Java. But if you create your own constructor, it will override the default one. Default one will be lost. Will not be there. Once you create your own constructor, the default constructor will not be there. Got it, Vishwa? I'll say 3. Now here I'm going to create the same class, sample class again. Just for example, click on finish. Now here, earlier, now this particular class has a default empty hidden constructor, yes or no? The moment I create a class, this particular sample class has a default hidden empty constructor, yes or no? Yes, it will be there. Even though it's not visible here, there is some hidden empty constructor already available. But what if I create a constructor like this? Constructors will not have any return type. I should not be writing void. And the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. Public, public, the name of the construction should match with the name of the class. And here I'll write down public, name of the class, and this is a constructor. The moment I write like this, this will be taken into consideration, or default inbuilt hidden constructor will be there? Explicitly created constructor will replace the default hidden empty constructor that is created and that is maintained by the class. That will be no more. Default empty hidden constructor will be no more. When you explicitly create a constructor like this, Java will not maintain any hidden empty constructor anymore. Okay. When you don't create the constructor explicitly, then only that hidden empty constructor will be maintained. Okay. Yes. Explicitly created one will replace. Otherwise, you can simply, instead of saying complex word like override, right? You can say replace. Okay. It will replace the default one. Okay. Override will be a bit complex one. Okay. So you should not say override. You should say replace. It will replace the default one. Okay. You say replace the default one. And here I am writing system.out.println. Inside sample like this. And here, can I parameterize this constructor? Is it possible to parameterize a constructor by creating some parameters? Can I do that? Yes, we can do that. I'll say string name. Okay. I'll just say welcome plus name. Okay. Now what will happen? Now I'm going to create a main method, because without main method, can you run the program? Without main method, can you run the programs? Guys, if you want to create an object, or if you want to call this constructor, main method is required, yes or no? Either you create this main method part of the same class or part of the different class, you have to definitely create a main method. Whether we want to create the main method in the same class or out in a different class, that doesn't matter. But if you want to run the programs, main method is required, whether you create in the same class or different class, that you have to understand. And inside this main method, I can create the objects for this. In order to call this constructor, what I have to do? I have to create an object for the sample. If I say new sample, will that be okay? Will that be okay, guys? Can I call this new sample like this? Can I create object like this? And this constructor calling statement can call this constructor? No. Why? Here, the constructor that is there has one parameter. So we have to pass one argument here. I'll give my name here. That is, I'll give my name Arun Moturi here. This time you see the error is gone. Okay. Now run this code. Right click, run as Java application. You see, welcome Arun Moturi is coming. Okay, I don't have to give colon symbol here. I don't think that is really required. Welcome Arun Moturi will come. Welcome Arun Moturi will come. Okay, that's it. Public class name, the constructor, main method. When you run the main method code, new sample, you see the constructor will be called and the name will be passed here, and welcome Arun Moturi will happen. Okay, clear everyone? How to call the constructors while creating the objects is clear. And if you don't create a constructor, also a default empty hidden constructor will be maintained, and all those stuff are clear for you. This is what I wanted to cover, guys. Nothing more than that. I don't want to go too depth in constructor. This much of knowledge in constructor is enough. For constructors, you don't need any reference. Okay, if you want to call, you see, if this particular main method is part of another class, I'll also cover that also. Otherwise, it will be easy for you. I'll create one more package. Just say .4. Here I'm going to create a new constructor, new class. I'll just name this class as sample class. Click on finish. Here I'll not create main method inside the same class. Just see what happens. Here I'll create a constructor otherwise. Public sample string name, a parameterized constructor. Whenever this particular constructor, parameterized constructor is called, right, it will print welcome space name, welcome, whatever the name that is passed, that will be called. Now guys, I don't want to create the main method inside the same class because I'm getting a question in the chat from Sonali saying that do we need reference only when we have to call from another class? We don't need any reference for constructors. I'll tell you why. New class, I'll say demo class with main method. Now, how many classes are there? Two separate classes are there. One is sample class, one is demo class. I'll just drag this demo class here so that you can see both of them together. Now just see here, guys. Now just see here what is happening. Now if I have to call the constructor here, I need to create an object for which class? If I have to call this particular sample constructor, I have to create an object for which class? Tell me. I have to create an object for which class, Sonali? Sample class, right? I'll simply write sample. New sample. Okay. Now why the error is coming here? Why the error is coming here? Can you tell me why the error is coming?
Since class and constructors names are same.
No.
It will consider.
No, just think again. Why I'm getting an error here? We have to pass. Here parameter is there. How many parameters are there? It's not an empty. It doesn't have zero parameters. It has one parameter. Here we have to pass the arguments. What is the argument I have to pass? I'll pass my name as the argument. Now will the constructor will be called? Is error called? Do I need any object reference? Tell me. To call this particular constructor of the sample class, do I need any object reference? Sonali, what do you say? No, that's not required. But if you want to call a method, if this particular class has a method, then it is required. Okay, for calling the constructor, object reference is not required. When you create an object, automatically the constructor will be called as part of the object creation statement, and this constructor will be called. If I run this code, the execution will start from the main method. If you run this code, you see welcome argument record printed. Okay, welcome argument record printed. Clear, everyone? Clear, Sonali, now? Great. Fine.
Sir, last time when you taught, you told the variable should be initialized, right? For example, the name string. So we have to initialize it and then
Yes.
yeah, and then you also so this time you didn't do it, so it's not necessary.
Which variable you mean to talk about?
The name.
Name is a parameter. It's not a normal local variable. Okay. If that is a variable that is inside a constructor or inside a method, right? That need to be initialized. For example, here if you say int a is equal to 5, sorry, you have not initialized int a. If you say, and if I say system.out.println a, then what will happen? Error will come here. The local variables that are created inside the methods or constructor need to be initialized, but parameters don't have to be initialized. Okay, because parameters are, why they don't have to be initialized, even though they are local kind of variables. Why they have to be initialized? Because parameters will get the values from the method calling statement. They will not be initialized inside the methods. That's why they don't have such kind of rule that they have to be initialized. Got it?
Okay, thank you.
When you're calling the method, they will get initialized, right? When you're calling method or constructor, as part of the arguments will come and initialize the variables. Okay, method variables or constructor variables. That's how they will get initialized. So here explicitly you don't have to define anything. Fine.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, right. So I think your confusions and everything is clear. Either you can write this main method inside the same class, or you can create a separate class and create a main method. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys. Okay, where you want to create. Okay. I'll explain more. Don't worry. I'll explain more. Don't worry. I'll make you guys more comfortable with Java because these doubts are very important. And, I have to explain also. Okay. Now, what I will do here is constructor pack is done for now. For now, constructor pack is done. I have other things. I'll tell you what exactly they are. I'll go with another concept known as overloading pack. What is the name of the concept I'm going to cover now? Next, I'm done with the constructors, guys. If required, I'll come back to the constructors demo pack and explain if required. But for now, what is the next topic? Overloading. So, yeah. Anyone asking any question? Okay. The next one is overloading, guys. I told you yesterday what are the different object-oriented concepts we have. What is object-oriented concepts we have in Java? First one is what object itself. I explained what is an object in yesterday's session. Then what is a class? Class will be used for creating objects. I yesterday explained. Then I told you another thing known as polymorphism. And then I told you there is something known as inheritance. Then abstraction and encapsulation. These are the different object-oriented concepts. Here, object and class are already completed. These two concepts are already completed as part of yesterday's session. Now, the next topic is polymorphism. How polymorphism is possible with help of overloading and overriding in Java. Polymorphism is an object-oriented concept which is possible in Java with help of what? Overloading and overriding. Everyone type in the chat box. Polymorphism hyphen overloading and overriding. Polymorphism, overloading and overriding. So what is this polymorphism? Everyone type in the chat box polymorphism, overloading and overriding. Then I can explain what is polymorphism means. Once you type, I'll explain what is polymorphism means. Polymorphism hyphen overloading and overriding. With help of overloading and overriding, polymorphism is possible in Java. With help of overloading and overriding, polymorphism kind of object-oriented concept is possible in Java, but what is overloading and what is overriding, I'm going to cover now. So coming to the overloading, guys, coming to the overloading. Okay, so before going to the overloading, I told you, right, I'll explain about polymorphism. Coming to polymorphism. Here you can divide this polymorphism word into two words. One is poly, other one is morphism. Okay, polymorphism can be broken down into two words. What are those two words, guys? Tell me. Polymorphism can be broken down into two words. What are the two words? Tell me. One is poly, other one is morphism.
Morphism.
Poly means, the meaning of poly means many. Poly is equal to many. Everyone type in the chat box. Poly means many. Poly is equal to many. And morphism is equal to forms. Morphism is equal to forms. Many forms. Polymorphism meaning is what? What is polymorphism meaning? Poly means many. Morphism means forms. Polymorphism together means many forms. Many forms. Poly means many. Morphism means forms. So many forms. Polymorphism finally is nothing but many forms. Same thing will act differently. Same thing will act differently in different situations. Is like polymorphism. Okay? Many forms. Something that has many forms. Okay? Something that has many forms. Okay. I'll take some example of okay. So here in English, what are the movies we have in multi-split? Maybe this is a one movie. Okay. 23 personalities. Okay. There is a movie known as Split. The name of the movie is Split, guys. Let's click on the Split and see Split. Okay. James McCauslit. Okay. A single person will behave differently in different ways. It's a mental condition, that's okay. But the single person, based on some situations, is behaving in a different way. That is called a split personality, right? In Telugu also we have a movie in our local language. In Hindi also, I think we can say Hindi. And what is the name of the movie in Hindi, guys? That one, Aparichita or something. Yeah, this is a movie where the person has multiple personalities. Okay, it's a movie where the person has multiple personalities. Okay. So the same person will be there, but will be acting differently according to different situations, right? Like that kind of movies are there. You can understand the polymorphism in the same way, guys. Okay, you can understand the polymorphism in the Divangi, Ajay Devgan. Okay, maybe in Hindi we have another on multiple split personality where the same person will act differently in different situations. Okay, so different movies are there, guys. Okay, different movies are there. So a same person will act like differently because of situations and all, right? His mind will act in a different way. That is a multiple split personality. Okay, same thing in Java. We have something known as polymorphism. Same item which will act differently. That is a method. Let's talk about a method as an item, and that method will behave differently. Method will have the same name, but it will work in a different way based on different number of parameters and types, for example. Okay, like that kind of situations are there. Okay, I'll tell you in deep. Okay, many forms, many personalities, many forms. Polymorphism means many forms. Okay, so fine, I'm going to, so this polymorphism in Java is possible with the help of two concepts. What are the two concepts? This many forms, the same item having many behaviors, the same item having a method is there having the same name, but it will behave differently based on some situations. Let's say the same method having multiple behaviors. Let's assume in that case, if I talk about that polymorphism, how polymorphism can be implemented in Java using which concepts? Using which concepts in Java?
Method overloading,
Yes, correct. Overloading is one thing. What is other one?
overriding.
Overriding is another one. Okay, overloading and overriding. Okay, these are the two concepts using which polymorphism can be implemented in Java. But we'll focus now on overloading concept. Okay, we'll focus now on overloading, and that too will take the first concept. This overloading can be possible for methods and constructors. You can implement this overloading both for methods and method overloading and constructor overloading also. Constructors both can implement the overloading concept, but first I will take what? First I will take method overloading concept. So overloading is possible for only methods or only constructors? Tell me, or both? Overloading is possible for methods and constructors, or only methods or only constructors? For both methods and constructors, we have overloading. If methods are implementing the overloading, we call that as which concept? We call them as method overloading. Okay. If overloading is implemented by methods, it's called as method overloading. If the overloading is implemented by constructor, it's called as constructor overloading. Constructor overloading. Okay. Remember this. Overloading is possible for both methods and constructors. And I'll first explain about methods, and explaining about constructors will be a bit easy anyhow after covering the methods. Okay. So overloading is one of the topic that makes the polymorphism possible. Polymorphism object-oriented concept possible in Java. And to implement this overloading, we have method overloading and constructor overloading concepts in Java. So I'll take overloading pack and create a new class here. I'll just name this class as some class. Okay. Calculations. Some kind of name some random name calculations I'm giving. Just click on finish. In this calculations class, I'm going to create a method, public void add. I'll say public void add. If you call this method system.out.println, to say nothing to add. Okay, nothing to add. Now, if I copy paste the same method, can I create duplicate methods inside the same class? Is it possible? Inside the same class, is it possible to create duplicate methods, guys, with the same name? If I try to duplicate this method, with the same name, what is happening? I'm going to get a compiler error saying that duplicate method add in the type calculations. In the calculations class, we have a duplicate method. So is Java allowing you to straightforwardly create a duplicate method? The answer is no. We cannot create duplicate methods inside the same class. So here, this method has the same name. This method has the same name. But here, how many parameters are there in the first method? How many parameters are there in the first method? 0 parameters. Here, if I give int a, then now is Java allowing you to create methods having the same name inside the same class? When I differ them in the name of, these are not duplicate methods. You see, duplicate methods are not allowed to be created inside the same class, but this add method and this add method are not duplicate methods. Why? This add method has 0 parameters. This add method has how many number of parameters? The second add method has how many number of parameters? 1. First one is having 0. Do you think this method is a duplicate of this method now? Because it has 0 parameters and it has 1 parameter. They are not duplicate methods anymore. So Java is allowing you to create multiple methods having the same name when they are having different number of parameters. Okay, here we cannot add single number. Just some sample thing I'm writing, guys. Don't take this example seriously. But overall, the concept you have to understand. We cannot add single number a. Okay, that's what I'll just print out. Nothing to add. If there are 0 parameters, nothing to add. I'll say. If there is 1 parameter, how can we add? At least 2 parameters should be there. 1 parameter we cannot add. Now I'll copy this one. I'll copy this one and paste it. Now this will become a duplicate method, yes or no? If I copy paste the method as it is, will it become a duplicate method? Yes, because this method has the same name as this method, and also it has the same parameter. It also has the same parameter, same number of parameters. What I have to do to overcome this problem? What I have to do? Can I increase the number of parameters here from 1 parameter to 2 parameter? That will be okay. Yes. Comma int b, I'll say. You see, error is gone. Error is gone. Yes. Now I can do the addition of two numbers. Two numbers is okay. Here plus a plus b. Is that correct? The way I have written the print statement is correct. Tell me, guys, what will be the output if I call this method? It's not correct. Addition of two numbers, string literal, will be concatenated with a. For example, 5 is passed here. 5, if 4 is passed here, what will happen? Addition of two numbers is 54 will come. 54 will come. That's the problem. So how to overcome this problem? How to surround this a plus b with circular brackets. So highest priority will go for the circular brackets, guys. Okay. After the addition of this a plus b happens, then only the result of this a plus b will be concatenated with string literal. Okay. We have to provide circular brackets here, guys. Everyone remember this. Okay. So here what happens, even though concatenation happens here, but inside the circular brackets, addition will happen. Inside the circular brackets, a plus b, 5 plus 4, 9. The 9 will be concatenated with addition of two numbers is 9. Okay. That's what we have to do. Fine. Now, anyhow, let's not deviate ourselves. I'll explain about this concatenation operator in detail during the strings concept. In detail, I'll explain. So don't worry. Now, guys, tell me the next item. Here, all these methods have the same name. Add method, add method, add method. All the three methods have the same name, guys. Add method, and add method. They have the same name. But different number of parameters. And this concept is called as what? A particular class allows you to create the same method name with a different number of parameters inside the same class. This is called as method overloading. Everyone type in the chat box. If a particular class is allowing you to create multiple methods having the same name inside the same class when they differ in the number of parameters is called as method overloading. What is method overloading? Tell me, guys, what is method overloading? Method overloading. Inside a single class, you can create methods having the same name when they differ in number of parameters. Okay. Is that the only thing that that will contribute to method overloading? There's one more thing also. Either the number of parameters should be different or the type of parameters should be different. Inside a single class, you can create methods having the same name when they differ differ in type of parameters also. Not only the number of parameters, but also the type of parameters. So conclusion is what? Conclusion is what? What is method overloading? Method overloading is an object-oriented concept where a single class can hold the methods having, or can hold multiple methods having the same name when they differ in number of parameters or type of parameters. This is the main thing. Number of parameters or type of parameters. Okay. There's one more thing like order of parameters also, but number and type are the important things. Okay. Number of parameters and type of the parameters, but these are the main things. Okay. So you have to tell in interviews or someone, if they ask you, right, this is the thing that you have to explain. Method overloading is an object-oriented concept. Is an object-oriented concept where in Java or something where a single class can hold the multiple methods having the same name when they differ in number of parameters or type of parameters. Okay. Till now, I have shown you the methods which differ in the number of, here 0 parameters, here 1 parameter, here 2 parameters. What if I copy this one and paste it the same way? What will happen? Is it possible to have a duplicate method inside the same class having the same name and same number of parameters and same type of parameters? Will it be possible? No. What if I don't want to change the number of parameters here to implement the method overloading? To implement the method overloading, I don't want to increase the number of parameters. I want the same name for the method. I want this single parameter here also single parameter. How can I overcome this error? Tell me guys, how can I overcome this error? I don't want to increase or change the number of parameters.
String.
Yes, we have to change the data type. For example, if you say double or string or whatever it is, what happens? The error is gone. It's not only that, method overloading is not only possible when the methods having the same name reside inside the same class, when they differ in the number of parameters, but also the type of the parameter, if they change also, it contributes to method overloading. Okay, this is also method overloading is not only the number of parameter changes, change in the number of parameters or difference in the number of parameters, but also the type of the parameters. The type of the parameters also is fine. Now copy this last one and paste it as it is. Now here, this method has the same name. This method has the same name. This method has 2 parameters. This method has 2 parameters. Okay, so when they have the same number of parameters, same type of parameters, same name of the method, it is considered as a duplicate method. So what I can do, I can change the type of the parameter here. For one of the parameter, if I change the type, that's enough guys. Okay. For example, if I change one of the parameter type to double here, you see, gone.
Hi sir, if we can change variable name, then it will.
No. It will not matter. Variable name doesn't matter. Parameter name doesn't matter. Only parameter type matters. Okay. So if your question is, for example, int A is there. For example, if I give B, is there any problem? You see, same error is coming, right? Same method name,
Yeah.
same number of parameters, same type of the parameter. So it doesn't matter whether you have the, if you change the name, it will not solve the problem.
To change data type.
Yes, either number of parameters you have to change or the type of the parameter you have to change, then only method overloading will be possible. So yes, Janavi, I'll come to you. Where we'll use this method overloading, I'll tell you. Okay, in real time, method overloading, why it is useful and why it is required, I'll tell you. Okay, why it is required, I'll tell you. I'll explain you that. Just give me a second. A few more things to complete here. After that, I'll come to your question. Now that's okay. Here, what happened? One of the parameter type I changed it. Here 2 parameters are there. Here also 2. The first parameter is still matching with the type, but the second parameter type is different. So it's okay. It's not a duplicate method. It's a overloaded method now, having a different type of the parameter. Same number of parameters, but different type of parameter. Now here, again, what is the problem that is coming? I'll just write it double here. You see, now it will be different. Here only int are there. Here int double are there. Here double are there. Okay. Now if I copy this one, and if I write something like, double is there. Already int double is there. So what I'll do is double int I'll say. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay because first parameter type is what? Int here, but here double is there. Here first parameter, second parameter type is double, that is int here. Order of parameters, if it changes the type of the order of parameters also, it is a different. Okay, here int double, here double int. Even though int double both are there here, but the order in which they are declared for the variables is different. So this also comes into the type of parameters only, guys. Okay, we generally call it as order of parameters, but we can mention this as a type of the parameters. Okay, here the first parameter type is different. Here first parameter type is different from this one. So that's why they are different methods. Okay. So this concept is called as method overloading. Everyone understood what is method overloading? What is method overloading? What is the purpose? I am not explained it. But what is method overloading is clear for everyone. Inside a single class, you can create multiple methods having the same name. Multiple methods having the same name when they differ in the number of parameters. When they differ in number of parameters or the type of parameters. Okay, this is what is the definition, actual one. Method overloading is an object-oriented concept where a single class can hold the multiple methods having the same name when they differ in number of parameters or type of parameters. Okay, that's what is method overloading means. All good. So far, all good. Now, I'll come to what is the purpose. Okay. So as Janavi has already asked me, I'll come to what is the purpose. But before going with the purpose, I would like to show you how to call these methods. How to call these methods. I'll create another class. I'll just name this class as demo class. With main method I'll create because I want to run the program. Somewhere the program execution should start, right? So in the demo class, I'll start the execution. Now guys, tell me if I have to call any of these methods in the calculations. In the calculations class, we have a lot of overloaded methods. If I want to call, generally, if I have to call any items of this calculation, it may be variables or methods of this class from the main method. How to do that? How to do that? We have to create object. Yes or no? If particular methods belong to a different class, we have to create an object. Yes or no? We have to create object. Without object creation, we cannot call the properties of another class. Properties means or members of another class we cannot call from a different class until unless we create an object for the class, and using the object reference we have to call these methods. Yes. Fine. Here I'm going to create an object. Calculations calc is equal to new calculations. Like this, I create an object for the calculations class. Calculations. Now, is there any error coming in the constructor calling statement? Is there any error coming? Is there any error coming in the constructor calling statement? Why? Do you have any constructor created under the calculations class? No. Why the error is not coming still?
Java has created.
Yes, Java has maintained a inbuilt empty hidden constructor there, which is not visible to us here, but a hidden empty constructor will be called. But here we got an object reference. So to call a constructor, the constructor object creation statement will call the constructor. That's okay. But if you want to call these methods, we have to create an object for the class in which the methods are available, and using the object reference, we have to call the methods. If I call the method like this, you see, when I say add here, how many overloaded methods options are coming here? These are all overloaded methods. You see, you can call this method having 0 parameters. You can call this method having a single parameter. You can call which is of a double data type. If you will call this method add method having a single parameter of int data type, and add method having 2 parameters, both are double data type. Add method having 2 parameters, first one is double type and second one is int type. Add method having 2 parameters where first one is the int type, second one is the double type. Add method having 2 parameters where 2 parameters of int type. These many variations are there. You can select one of them. If I say calculate or add in these overloaded methods, which overloaded method will be called? First one or second one or third one or fourth one or fifth one or sixth one or seventh one? Tell me guys. If I say calc.add, which one will be called? Yes, the first one will be called. If I run this code, you see, using the object reference, we are calling the methods of another class, and you can clearly see nothing to add will come. If nothing to add got printed means this particular method got added. Okay, got called. Now I'll comment this one and write down calc dot add of if I give a value like 5 here, there's an integer value. Now tell me which method will be called, which overloaded, first one or second one or third one or fourth one or what? Which one? This time which one? Second one, correct. Why? Because add method, integer value. So it will integer value can be stored into the int data type. So we cannot add single number, A will be printed. Okay. We cannot add single number, 5 will be printed. Okay, that's okay. Now I'll comment this out and say calc dot add of. If I say 5.5, tell me guys, which method will be called? Which overloaded method will be called? First one or second one or third one? This time third one, because it's, you see the type of the data that it can be stored into the double variable parameter is, double type parameter is 5.5. So 5.5 will not go into int A, 5.5 will go into the double A. Okay. So third one will be called, right click run as Java application. We cannot add single number, 5.5 will come because that is a double value. Now if I write calc dot add of 5,4, then which method will be called? Which overloaded method will be called? Fourth one, right? Two parameters are of integer type, so 5,4. So run this code, right click run as Java application, and addition of two numbers is 9 should be printed. You see, properly it got printed. Okay. Addition of two numbers is in circular brackets we mentioned A plus B. So circular bracket addition will happen, and after that the result of this A plus B will be concatenated with the string literal anyhow. Then next one, if I write something like this, calc dot add of 5,5. If I write like this, then which method will be called? Which overloaded method? Yes, fifth one will be called, because first one is integer and second one is double, so it is matching. So fifth overloaded method will be called. Addition of two numbers is 10.5 will come. That's fine. And if I write calc dot add of, if I write 5.5 comma 5.5, then this one, both double types, right? This one will be called. Right click, run as Java application. You see 11.0. Then calc dot add of, if I write something like 5.5 comma 4, then 5.5 comma 4. First one is double and second one is integer. So this one, addition of two numbers is 9.5 should be printed. Like this, different overloaded methods of the class will be called. Okay. Based on the type of the arguments you are passing, the different type of method overloaded methods will be called. Okay. That's what is the thing. That's what is the thing. Okay. Now I'll give you the explanation why we have to create overloaded methods. Okay. Yeah, you understood what is method overloading now, but what is the purpose of method overloading? What is the purpose of method overloading? You have to understand what is the purpose of method overloading. What is the problem that method overloading is solving for you? You say, guys, let's say you want to add two numbers. I'll say add of int A comma int B. I'll write. If with the method overloading, I can write like this. If method overloading is available, then I can write int A comma int B. If you have to add three numbers, I can write add of int A comma int B comma int C. I'll write int C. I'll write. Okay. Then if I say int add of int, if I have to add four numbers, let's say int A comma int B comma int C comma int D. I'll write. If I want to create a method which adds five numbers, then I'll write int A comma int B comma int C comma int D comma. These are some examples, let's assume. Okay, like there are some methods you want to create inside the same class. You want to create some overloaded methods which will add two numbers or three numbers or four numbers or five numbers. Now, if method overloading is there, if method overloading concept is there, this is possible. Okay, because number of parameters is changing, number of parameters is different. These are all overloaded methods. That's okay, and we have the same name. But what if the method overloading concept is not there in Java? What you have to do? Add two numbers, int A comma int B. You have to write. If Java doesn't allow you to create duplicate methods having the same name inside same class, even though they don't they have a different number of parameters, then overloading concept is not possible in Java. Let's assume for a while, let's assume that if Java is not supporting overloading, then the method name cannot be simple as add method. You have to write add 2 numbers. Yes or no? Add 3 numbers I have to write. Very bigger method names I have to write. If method overloading concept is not there, I have to create this kind of methods. Add 4 numbers. Int a comma. If method overloading concept is not there, for every method I have to create a different name. Right? Inside the same class, I have to create a different name for every method. If method overloading concept is not accepted in Java, then assuming that you have to create add 5 numbers. Okay. For every method, you have to give a bigger different name. But which one is better, guys? Which one is better? Overloading is better, or creating the methods with bigger names is better? Like defining a different name for different methods is better. Tell me. Overloading is better. Very simple name for the method, but they differ in the number of parameters. Using with that, Java is making the thing simple. You don't have to create so many, you don't have to give this many different names for the methods. Okay, for a simple thing. Clear now? Yes. Why overloading is required is clear. Janavi, is that clear for you? Great. Okay. So this is why instead of creating these big names and all those stuff, right? Same name, but will act like different based on the different number of parameters or different type of parameters. So that the method names will look very simple. Here, method names doesn't look simple, guys. Okay. For everything, you have to describe what this particular method does. Okay. A detailed description is required if you don't use method. To simplify the names of the methods. Okay. When the same method name can perform different operations. Okay, that is what is method overloading. Simple. Okay, what if they are all not for addition only? Yeah, then also if they are not for addition, if you have a different purpose there, then also you have to describe the different names. Yes or no? You have to describe the names. Or Sonali, you give me some example, I'll let you know what exactly you are expecting from me. You see, if subtraction is there, you will not write add, right? You will write sub.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, suppose there are different, we are using methods for different functionalities.
Yes.
Suppose we want to add and at the same time we have to perform different functionalities. In that case, overloading will be not in use, I think so.
No. Yes. You mean to say add and subtraction, for example. That is
Yeah,
add, subtraction, multiplication. You'll write like this. In that case, overloading will not be useful because we'll be creating different names, right, for the methods.
Yes. That means when similar kind of functionalities are there,
Yes.
bunch of similar kind of functionalities, in that case only we can use
Yes.
overloading.
Perform similar
Okay.
functionality, but with the number
Yeah.
of parameters, number of type of parameters should differ. In such cases, we don't have to create another method describing like this, add 2 numbers, add 3 numbers. Same functionality is there. But different functionalities, anyhow, we'll give the different names only, right? So there is no need to create overloaded methods for different functionalities. Overloaded methods are only required when you want to do the addition only, but in different ways. The numbers can be integer numbers are like that. Okay. Again, subtraction also different overloaded subtraction methods you can create because they are of the same type. Okay. Clear na?
Clear, sir.
In real time, Janavi is asking me in real time, do you use this concept only in band? No, not like that. In real time, if I give you an example here itself, I don't want to take it big, but I would like to give an example here. There's something like string class, right? String str is equal to, I'll give something like Arun Motori here. Okay, just assume that I have not covered the string concept for you, but I'll tell you. String is a predefined class in Java, and str is object reference. Using this object reference, we can call different methods. Str dot, all the string predefined class methods will come here. Just at a high level, you try to understand. And if I go with something like str dot substring method is there. Substring, how many overloaded methods are coming for substring? How many overloaded methods are coming for substring? 2 are there. I'll take the first one. I'll give 0, 1. I'll give 1. What will happen? From the index 1, it will cut it. It will create a substring. That means run moturi will come. Okay. This will result in string res1. Okay. Result string system.out.println 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 res1 I'll say. So it will take from the index 1 till the end of the string text. Okay. Only beginning index you have given to take a substring out of this entire string text. Okay. So here what it will take, run moturi it will take. Okay. You see run moturi will be printed. Run moturi got printed. Now what if I do one thing, that is string res2 is equal to str dot another overloaded method I'll take. Out of these two overloaded methods, if I take another overloaded method, here in beginning index and end index I have to give, I'll give the beginning index as 1 and end index should be 0, 1, 2, 3. I have to give an excluding index here. 4 I have to give. Okay. Instead of 3, I have to give 4 here. So it will take only a run part it will take. Okay. So begin and end. Don't worry about how substring is working here. I'll cover that later, but understand that you see the same method inside string class, we have two overloaded this overloaded method known as substring here, which has different number of parameters. Okay. So that we can achieve different type of purposes. The first case you are taking from second letter on to the end of the text. Here you are not only giving the beginning text, but also the ending position also you are giving. For example, okay, res2, if I say res2, only run will be printed. Right click run as Java application, only run will be printed. Only run will be printed. Clear now? Clear everyone? Where the overloading will come is clear?
Yes, sir.
It's not just in, banking domain or something. It is in Java itself. Okay. In Java predefined stuff also, we have a lot of overloaded methods. In Selenium also, we have different overloaded methods. In any library you take where Java overloading concept is implemented, we have different overloaded methods. Okay. Is that clear, Janavi now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Maybe we can use in the payment also, like around, for example, there is a payment one. Using the payment as a superclass, inside that using the UPI is one more method as a payment. Another one is a bank transfer. Like that,
Okay.
same thing will
use that you have the simple concept is you will create a method with the name payment, but what
Yes.
type of payment you will write in the number of parameters or type of the parameters, right?
Yeah, yes.
Only simple. You don't have to make it complicated here. The simple way to understand this concept is a class can contain methods having the same name only when they have the different number of parameters or different type of the parameters. That's what is a very simple thing that you understand where it will be coming. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, everywhere.
But
It will be useful.
so
Everywhere it will be useful.
example.
Yeah, that's okay. You see, examples can be many, but we cannot take hundreds of examples, right? So understanding wise, this much is enough. But in real time, where we'll use, we'll come across anyhow. Okay, when we are going in the upcoming sessions, whenever we use that, right? Maybe in the frameworks part, or maybe in the Selenium automation part, or in other concepts of Java, where string handling mechanism. When I'm covering the string handling, this kind of concepts, many places you will get overloading concepts. I'll show you. Okay, you will understand. Fine. You can create user-defined overloading methods, and there are predefined overloading methods also available. Okay. In whatever the methods that you see, string class is a predefined class. It has some overloaded methods like substring. Whatever the method I created calculations, whatever the class I create calculations is a user-defined class. We created user-defined overloaded methods. It's up to us. Okay. Whenever you are a developer something, you can create your own user-defined overloading methods, or whenever using some library that's already developed by the developers, you may come across overloading. You will come across that predefined overloading methods from the predefined classes of that particular library. Okay, it all depends, but you will come across that. This concept you have to understand, that is enough. Any other questions, guys, regarding this overloading concept? Any other questions? Now I'm going to talk about constructor overloading. This is method overloading, right? This is method overloading. Here I'll create a new package. I'll just name this package as .method. And I'll just move these items here into the method package. Say okay, so that it will be properly organized now. And I'll create one more package known as constructor. Here instead of .method, I'll write .constructor. Subpackage I'll create .constructor. Overloading tag .constructor. In this, I'll create one class. I'll just name this class as again CALCL, right? Otherwise, okay. Let's click on finish. Now, can I overload the constructors? Is a question. Tell me, guys, is it possible to overload the constructors? Can I create constructors having the same name inside the same class when they differ in the number of parameters and type of parameters? Yes, it is possible. Yes, it is possible. Okay. Public. Is there any return type for constructors? Is there any return type for constructors? No. After that, name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. So here I'll say system.out.println, system.out.println. There is nothing to calculate. Nothing to calculate. Okay. I'll copy this one and paste it. Now it's called a duplicate constructor. Yes or no? This is a duplicate constructor. The name of the constructor is matching with this constructor also. Okay. Both the constructors have the same name and they have the same number of parameters. That is 0 parameters, 0 parameters. So that is not possible. Okay. What I have to do to overcome this problem? I have to give a parameter intake. Okay. We cannot, same example I am repeating with the constructor, guys. We cannot we cannot add a single number, Okay. We cannot add a single number plus a, I'll say. I'll create one more constructor here. I'll copy this and I'll write here int a comma int b. You see, constructor overloading is possible. I'll simply write down a plus b. Okay. Addition calculation of two numbers is, I'll write. That's okay. Some sample methods I'm creating. Don't take this example seriously, guys. You can create a lot of examples, but again, the same number of parameters, same type of parameters is coming. Okay. So what I will do here, instead of going here, I'll copy this one. Otherwise, either the constructors should have the different number of parameters or different type of parameters. Okay. That's fine. The constructor should have either different number of parameters or different type of parameters. Here, one of the thing I'll make it double. Again, I'll copy this one. The other one, this one I'll make it double, and this one I'll make it int. Then I'll copy this one. This one I'll take it double. So is constructor overloading possible? Yes or no? Guys, is constructor overloading possible? Yes or no? It is possible. Similar to method overloading. Only the difference is methods have the same syntax as constructors, or constructors have similar syntax as methods, but they don't have return type. Constructors won't have return type, and the name of the constructor will match with the name of the class. If they differ in the number of parameters, type of the parameters, the order of parameters in which they are declared, okay, then that's okay. Method constructor overloading, similar to method overloading, is possible. I'll create a new class here. How to call these constructors? How to call this constructor? Do you have to use an object reference? You have to create an object reference to call the constructors. Tell me whether it's part of the same class, main method is part of the same class or different class. Do you have to create an object reference? No. Yes. Ramya, you are right. Okay. So here, how to call these constructors? Tell me, guys. They have to use object reference similar to the methods. For methods, right? I have to create an object reference, and using the object reference, I called all these overloaded methods, right, earlier. But these are constructors. They have to create an just by creating objects, we can do that, guys. New. If I say new calc, what will happen? This will call this particular constructor. Okay. You don't have to create an object reference here. New calc of phi, if I say, which constructor will be called? This statement will call which constructor? First one or second one? Second one. Similar to the method overloading, constructor overloading is happening here. New calc of 5.5. It will call the third constructor here. It will call the third constructor having the double parameter type. Then new calc of 5, 4. This one will be fourth one, right? New calc of 5, 5.5. 5.5. Yes, this one. 5, 5.5. Then new calc of 5.5, 5. 5.5, 5. Then new calc of 5.5, 5.5.
Are you replacing the overloading concept to the constructor? I mean, the same.
Yes, this is constructor overloading. Similar to method overloading, constructors also can be overloaded. Got it?
Okay.
So you know what is the difference between method and constructor already, right? I don't have to explain again. Method overloading is possible. Similarly, constructor overloading is also possible. Inside the same class, you can have multiple constructors having the same name when they differ in the number of parameters or type of the parameters. That is constructor overloading in simple words. But in order to call the constructors, we don't have to use any object reference. You just create an object for the class in which the constructors are available. Automatically, based on the type of the arguments you are passing, the appropriate constructor, overloaded constructor will be called. Got it? That's the difference. Any questions? Any confusions? Any questions here?
So here we have same class name and method name, right? But only the parameter is different. The data type is different.
Can you repeat the question again, Anisha?
Like I can see here, public class name is calc here, and also method name is calc. That's what I confused with the same method.
Constructor should have the same name as a method, same name as a class. Okay, that's how the constructors will get different from the methods. Constructors will not have return type, and the name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. You see, every constructor here has the same name.
Okay.
Okay, while methods can have its own names. Okay, yesterday, if you remember, I explained about constructors, right? There I covered that methods can have their own names. Okay, inside a class, if you are creating a method, right, the method can have its own name. It should not be matching with the name of the class, but constructors should have the same name as a class name. Clear,
Okay.
Anisha?
Yes, clear.
Yes. Same thing, same purpose only. Okay, same purpose only. Is there any specific purpose to use constructor overloading in Java basic purpose? So whenever you have to call a constructor, right, there may be some constructors where you can pass with some arguments. Without arguments, you can pass. Okay, you can pass without arguments or with arguments. Okay, the purpose is same. That is basically the constructor should have the same name. That's one thing. You cannot have bigger names like constructors cannot have their own names, right? The name of the constructor should match with the name of the class. So there is no other possibility. We are bound to give the same name first of all. But if you want to different type of parameters and it should work for you, the same constructor should act differently in different things. For example, if you are calling this new calc, there's nothing to be calculated will print. But if you call this new calc of 5.5, 5, you call this one, and then addition calculation of the two numbers is 5.5 plus 5, that is 10.5 will be printed. Okay, you are getting a different result. Overloading only. Okay. Yes, we can add 3 parameters. Number of parameters doesn't matter. You can have hundreds of 100 parameters also is fine. Which one is more useful? Method overloading, constructor overloading. Which one is more useful? You are asking me, Sonali. Both are useful. There's nothing like this is useful, that is not useful. There's nothing like this is useful, that is not useful. When situation comes, okay, there may be some constructors where they require some arguments. Okay, so I'll give you one example here. This concept I have not covered for you, but try to understand what I'm trying to do here. I'll write something like this. Buffered. One predefined class in Java I'm taking. Buffered reader BR is equal to new buffer reader. Buffer reader is a predefined class in Java. Okay, buffer reader is a predefined class in Java. Hover the mouse on the buffer reader and import it from java.io package. And now this constructor, this is a constructor calling statement, yes or no? Guys, this is a constructor calling statement, yes or no? Yes, right? This is a constructor calling statement. Hover the mouse on this constructor calling statement. It cannot have 0 parameters. Only 2 varieties are there. 2 overloaded constructors are there. Can you see that? You have to pass the reader and reader and int. One of the way is you have to pass the reader. Other way is you have to pass reader comma int. Okay, 2 overloaded constructors are there. You can call this constructor in 2 ways. Okay, because in buffer reader class, if you go to the buffer reader class in the implementation, there are 2 constructors. Buffer reader, which will accept the reader and integer. Other one, where is other one? Normal buffer reader, only reader it is accepting. If it is accepting only reader, it will perform this kind of operation. If it is accepting both reader and this kind of integer, it's doing something. Okay, it's doing something. Creates a buffering character input stream that uses an input buffer of the space size, extra size you are giving. Okay, how much maximum size you can read is you are giving here. Here there is no restriction in the size. Okay, while reading some text from the text file or something, right? So generally people will go with the buffer first one, that is I have to create an object for the file reader here. File reader fr is equal to new file reader. All this I have not explained. This concept I'll cover as part of file handling mechanism. But you're asking me, right, in real time, do you use constructor overloading similar to method overloading? Do you have a concept of constructor overloading? Yes, this is one example here. Buffer reader has a overloaded constructors here. Okay, where you can only call this constructor, by inputting this file reader. Okay, so hover the mouse on this file reader and import it from java.io package. This constructor cannot be empty. That's why it's kind of coming like this. How many overloaded methods are there? Can you see for file reader how many overloaded methods are there? In file reader, you can only pass a file, or you can pass the file descriptor, or you can pass a string. File reader of file comma char set, file reader of string comma char set. Many variations are there. Generally, we use a file one. File is equal to new file. Okay, if I say file is equal to new file and hover the mouse and import this file, and here the file cannot be empty. How many overloaded methods are there for this file constructor? File constructor taking the string, file constructor taking the URI, file constructor taking file comma string, file constructor taking string comma file constructor taking string comma int, file constructor taking string comma int. Okay, I'll take only string version now, and here I'll give some abc.txt file. One file I'll give, text file I'll give, and this file I'll pass into the file reader, and this file reader I'll pass into the buffer reader, and the error will come here to ignore the exceptions. Exception handling concept is there again, but at least you understood, right? Constructor overloading can be used this like. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear how constructor overloading will be used in real time? These are the predefined classes in Java where constructor overloading is being used. Okay. You see this file, this is a file constructor calling statement only, file constructor calling statement, file reader constructor. How many overloaded methods are there? You can see that, right? Based on your requirement, you can create an object, and while calling the constructor, you can give that type of parameters to call such kind of constructors with overloaded constructors. Everyone clear? If everyone is clear, just type C in the chat box. It's not only method overloading, both method overloading and constructor overloading, both are used in real time. In real time, we have to use method overloading and constructor overloading. Which one is better is not a correct question. Okay, which one is better of method overloading and constructor overloading is not a good question. Okay, it's not a correct question. Both are required. You know the benefits of a constructor already. It will simplify the process of initializing and all the stuff, right? And you don't have to explicitly call a method. Okay, so constructor overloading is there. If you are using constructor there to solve a purpose, then constructor overloading can be there. And if you are using methods for solving the purpose, in case of that, method overloading will be there depending on the situations of Java programming. Okay, this is what is method overloading and constructor overloading, guys. Hope everyone has understood what is method overloading and constructor overloading. I covered in very depth these concepts already. So constructor overloading and method overloading. Okay. The next one we have here is, what is the next topic after constructors and overloading? What is the next topic we have? The next topic we have is inheritance. What is the next topic, guys? Everyone type in the chat box. Inheritance. Overriding I have to cover after overriding. After inheritance only I can cover overriding. I know this overriding belongs to polymorphism, but in order to understand overriding, right, we have to first understand what is inheritance. Okay, that's the reason I have to cover inheritance first, and then I'll cover the overriding concept for you. Fine, guys, is that fine? If you want to understand the other polymorphism concept, that is overriding, without inheritance, you cannot understand the overriding concept. That's why overriding I am covering after inheritance concept. Okay. So guys, polymorphism means the same method or constructor having the method or constructor having the same name, performing different operations is, it's kind of polymorphism only, right? With overloading, method overloading or constructor overloading, is polymorphism possible? Same method performing different activities, many forms, same method having different behaviors. Is that possible? With a method overloading and method overloading and constructor overloading, was it possible? Polymorphism was possible. Yes, right? Polymorphism is a concept. Implementation is with help of implementation in Java of polymorphism with overloading and overriding. But overloading is completed, but overriding is pending. That I have to cover after inheritance, guys. After inheritance only I can cover overriding. Okay. After inheritance only I can cover overriding. Fine. So let's complete the inheritance then. I'll create a new package. I'll just simply say inheritance pack. So inside the inheritance, first of all, what is inheritance in real world? In real world, what is inheritance? In real world, what is inheritance? In real world,
A quality that carries from our ancestor.
yes.
It's the parents' side, right?
Yes, parents, grandparents, properties, or genes, or anything can be called as inheritance. Okay. Inheritance. We are inheriting some properties from our previous generations, right? Yes, that's what is called as inheritance in real time. Okay, that's what is called as inheritance. What is inheritance in real time? Inheritance in real world. Inheritance is a process of passing down assets to the loved ones after death. These assets can include cash, investments, jewelry, automobiles, or antiques, real estate. At a high level they are, but it's not only about, the children of the parents or grandparents or their grandparents, right? The children will not only inherit the properties, they also inherit different stuff, like, they can also inherit the genes. Some children look similar to their parents. Some children look similar to their grandparents. Okay. Here we are inheriting the properties. Okay. What is a real life example of inheritance in Java? We'll take that. Don't worry. Okay, so what they are giving? Okay, implementation wise, they are giving the inheritance, guys. Okay. Okay, like this, parent and child. Okay, they are giving this kind of example where your cub is there and its parent is there. Okay. So a baby of a lion will look like a lion or lioness, something like that. Okay, similar properties will be there. Human being babies, children or something will look like human beings only. Okay, that high level distinction there. Okay, a baby of a cow cannot look like a baby of a lion, right? Because they are inheriting something. Okay, it's not about properties always. Something that is being inherited from our previous generations or previous types is inheritance, guys. Okay. So fine, I'll explain more about inheritance now here. Inheritance is a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties of another class. Simple words. Real world, there is a different definition, but coming to the technical stuff, Inheritance is a mechanism in which inheritance is a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties of another class in Java. Okay. What means properties means any of the properties like variables, methods of another class that can be inherited by the child class. Okay. In Java, a child class can acquire the properties of the parent class, guys. Okay. The purpose of the inheritance is to use the properties, that is methods and variables inside a class instead of recreating the same properties again and again. So why a particular class has to inherit? You see, what is inheritance? You are able to understand. What is inheritance? What is inheritance? If you ask, this is the answer, right? Then what is the purpose of inheritance? If you ask, what is the purpose of inheritance? Why a child class has to acquire the properties of a parent class? If you ask, you see, what is inheritance means? Inheritance is a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties of another class. That's what is inheritance means. That's good. That's correct also. Inheritance is a mechanism in which one class acquires the properties of another class in Java is 100% correct. But why a child class has to acquire the properties of a parent class? What is the reason behind that? Why we have to use inheritance in real time? Yes, reusability is a correct answer. I'll explain this. For example, there is a class. There's another class. Okay, there's another class. There's another class. There's another class, like that multiple classes are there. Here, let's say these classes are like, this is the HDFC bank class. Let's say HDFC bank class is there. Here we have Axis bank class is there. Axis bank class is there. Here, is there any federal bank or some kind of Citibank? Citibank is there. HSBC is there. HSBC bank. Okay. Any other banks? Bofa Bank. Okay. Janavi is saying Bofa Bank. Bofa Bank. Whatever the different banks that may be in our country or different countries. Let's take some different banks. Every bank, let's say account type. Type 1. These are the variables. Account type 2. Here also, in this bank also, account type 1 is there. Account type 2 is there. Here, account type 1 is there. Account type 2 is there. Then here also, account type 1 is there. Account type 2 is there. Okay. Here also, account type 1 is there. Here also, account type 2 is there. Like that, same type of variables are there. Okay. Same variables. Here, open account, deposit money. Methods are there here. These are variables, these are methods. Here also, open account, deposit money are there. Here also, open account, deposit money are there. If I'm creating this many number of classes, tomorrow if I have to create 100 classes for every bank, you have 100 banks are there. For every bank, I have to write account type 1, account type 2, and open account and deposit money I have to write. Few examples only I'm taking. There may be a lot of variables and methods for every bank, but for sample, I'm taking this sample 2 variables and sample 2 methods. Open account, then deposit money. Like this, if I create a lot of variables and methods, are they repeated or not? In every bank, these variables and methods are repeated, yes or no? They got repeated like anything. So in such kind of situation, Java is giving a facility where HDFC Bank is one class, Axis Bank is another class, Citibank is another class, HSBC Bank is another class, Bofa Bank is another class. In that we have the same type of variables and methods. Instead of recreating the same variables and methods across all the similar type of classes, Java is asking you to create a parent class. and just call this parent class as, let's say, bank class. Okay. Parent class, Java is asking you to create the name of the class. Let's assume that bank class. In the bank class, if you create account type 1, account type 2. Okay. And here, open account method and deposit money. If I write like this, if I make this bank class a parent, if I make this bank class as a parent of HSBC, HDFC Bank or Axis Bank and Citibank and HSBC Bank and BofA Bank, do I have to create all these same variables and methods across all the classes? Is it required, guys? You see, reusability here. If I move all these similar variables and methods of the individual classes, which are repeated across multiple classes, into a parent class, now bank will become a parent class. HDFC, Axis Bank, Citibank, HSBC, BofA Bank, all will become the child classes. So all the properties of the parent class automatically belong to the child class. Do I have to create again? They will be inherited. What they will do? Inherited. HDFC Bank will inherit properties, that is variables and methods, from bank class. So I don't have to recreate this account variables and methods in the HDFC Bank. Similarly, Axis Bank also will inherit properties from bank class. Citibank also will inherit the common properties that are there in the parent properties from bank class. Similarly, HSBC Bank also will inherit the same variables and methods instead of creating in all the classes, bank classes. Simply, HSBC Bank also will inherit properties from bank class. Okay. BofA Bank also will inherit the properties from the from bank class. Is that clear, guys? We don't have to recreate the same variables and methods. All these common variables and methods across multiple classes, that multiple classes will make the child class of a parent class, and that from the parent class, all the common variables and methods will be put in the parent class, and that common variables and methods will be automatically inherited by the child class. This is what is the purpose of the inheritance in Java. Everyone knows what is inheritance. If you ask anyone, they will say that there will be a parent class, there will be a child class. Okay. The properties in the parent class will be inherited by the child class. That is a basic definition they will give. Inheritance is a mechanism in which one class, a child class, will acquire the properties from the parent class. That's what they will say. But why we require in Java? What is the main reason why we are implementing inheritance in Java programming? There may be multiple classes which are repeatedly creating the same variables and methods across multiple classes. In such kind of cases that multiple classes make them multiple classes as children of that parent class, so that all the properties of the parent class will be inherited by the child class, so that the reusability will increase. Reusability of the code will increase because we don't have to type the same variables and methods across multiple classes. The common variables and methods of the multiple classes are moved to the parent class, and because of this inheritance concept, the child classes will automatically inherit. They don't have to create this same variables and same methods again. Instead, they will be inheriting the common variables and methods from the parent class. Everyone clear with this concept? Why inheritance we have to use in Java is clear. It's not about what is inheritance. You have to also understand why inheritance is required also is very important. Okay. So if you go to the framework concepts, okay, in upcoming sessions as part of Selenium Java automation framework creation, right? This is the same concept we will use. You will see multiple classes are doing the same thing. That common things will move into a parent class, and from there we'll inherit to reduce the code. To increase the reusability of the code in our framework creation, we implement this inheritance concept where the common stuff which are replicated like anything across multiple classes, we move on to the parent level and make that parent class a parent of this child classes, so that they don't have to recreate these elements again, properties again. They'll simply inherit because they are the child of the parent class. Okay, they are children of the parent class. So this is what is all about inheritance, guys. Inheritance in simple words is a mechanism in which child class acquires the properties of the parent class. Okay, we can also call this class as a parent class as another name for parent class is superclass. Okay. Another name for the parent class is what? Superclass. Another name for the child class is what? Subclass. Subclass. Are there any other names? Are there any other names apart from for parent and child classes? Are there any other names? Superclass is one thing we'll use. Subclass. Yes. Base class. Base is another one. Another name is base class. This one is derived class. Derived. If you use base means this is called as derived class. Okay. Base or derived. Terminology is case. Okay. These are just different names. Everything is same. Parent, you can call this parent class as superclass or base class, and child class as subclass or derived class. Okay. Those are just the names. Okay. Different names that we give to the parent class or child class names. So inheritance is a mechanism in which a child class acquires the properties of the parent class, or a subclass acquires the properties of superclass, or a derived class acquires the properties from the base, from its base class. Okay, this is what is inheritance. But why we use it? To what is the purpose of the inheritance? To reduce the, to improve the reusability of code. This is the purpose why we use inheritance. Instead of recreating the same variables and same methods across multiple classes, we'll make all these classes a child class of a parent class, which will actually contain that, okay, contain that common members of the classes that they need. Yes, acquire properties of the parent class and pass it on to the child class. Okay. Child class acquires the properties from the parent class. Okay. Properties means methods and variables, etc. Okay. Child class acquires the properties of the parent class. And practically speaking, till now I have not done any practical, only theoretical part I covered to you, right? What is a child class? What is a parent class? How the inheritance will happen? The child class will acquire the properties, that is variables and methods of the parent class. I told you what are the different names for parent class, child class, and what is the actual reason why we have to use inheritance: to improve the reusability of the code, where multiple classes, if you are repeatedly creating same variables and methods, if you move that common variables and methods to the parent class, the code reusability will increase, because you don't have to recreate the same variables and methods in every child class. Okay. Child class will acquire the properties from the parent class. Okay. But practically speaking, how to make a particular class in Java a child class of another class? By using a keyword known as extends keyword. Everyone type in the chat box, what is the keyword we have to use to make a particular class a child class of another class? What is the keyword we have to use? We have to use extends keyword. Okay. We have to use extends keyword to make a particular class a child class of another class. Okay. If you want to make a particular class a child class of another class, we have to use extends keyword, guys. I'll show you practically. Inheritance pack already I created. Here in this, I'll create, okay, a class known as bank. Click on finish. Click on finish. And here in the bank, I'll write string account type. Account type 1 is equal to, I'll write savings is one variable. It's a global variable. You can see that. String account type 2 is equal to, a class generally contains members of the class are variables and methods generally. Current account. Okay. For the business people use the current account type. Now similarly here I'll write one method, public void open account. Open account. Okay. System.out.println account open. Otherwise you can say bank account open. Bank account open. Then here I'll write public void deposit money. Deposit in bank, what you will do? Deposit money. Deposit money. System.out.println money deposited in bank. I can create any number of methods, guys. Public void. One more method I'll create. Public void withdraw money. Withdraw money. System.out.println money withdrawn from bank. Like this, some methods, some variables, some sample variables, sample methods I created in the bank. Now, what I'll do is I'll create one more class I'll create one more class. I'll just name this class as HDFC bank class. Finish. And you can clearly see here there are two classes. One is bank class, which contains these variables and methods. And if I have to create the same variables and methods inside the HDFC bank, do I have to really create the same variables and methods in the HDFC bank? No. I have to simply make this HDFC bank a child class of the bank class, right? Using extends keyword, using here after the name of the child class, whatever the class you want to make it as a child class, after the name of that class, you write a keyword known as extends keyword. Okay, extends is a predefined keyword in Java that Java can recognize. One more new keyword that came into your, okay. Till now, a lot of keywords I covered, right? New keyword, class keyword, package keyword, int keyword, double keyword, many keywords were there, wide keyword, okay, new keyword. Now another keyword that, a new keyword that came into our list or for our learning is, what is the keyword name? Extends is the name of the keyword. After the class name for which you want to make that particular class as child class of another class, after that class name, you have to write extends keyword followed by the parent class name. You want to make this particular class a child class of another class. What is that class? Bank class. Now, once I make this HDFC bank class a child class of the bank class, do you have to create these variables and methods in the child class again? Using the extends keyword, I made this class as child class of this bank class. Do you have to use extends keyword? Do you have to create the same variables and methods here again? Not required. How can I prove that? How can I prove that? I don't have to create these variables and methods again in the HDFC bank. And how can I prove that this HDFC bank is inheriting these properties of the bank class automatically? Because using the extends keyword, it's inheriting anyhow. But how can I prove that? The simple way to prove that is, I'll create one more class. I'll name this class as demo class. With main method I'll create, because in order to run the program, we need the main method. Otherwise, we cannot run. I'll just drag it here. Now, how can I get a clarification that this particular HDFC bank is inheriting the properties of this bank class? If I create an object for the bank class and using the object reference, if I'm able to access the variables and methods of the parent class, will that be okay to prove? If I create an object for the child class and using the child class object reference, if I'm able to access the variables and methods of its parent class, will that be acting like a proof? Yes or no? It will act like a proof now, right? So I'm going to create an object for the child class, HDFC bank. New HDFC bank. I'll say HDFC bank is equal to, declare this variable. So simplest way is we not to write manually, write over the mouse on this HDFC and say create local variable. Automatically the actual type will come automatically, guys. You don't have to type it manually. Okay, there's another feature in Eclipse IDE. And using this object reference, if you forget about bank class, guys, bank is a parent class of the HDFC bank, but forget about the bank class. What is there in the bank class? Do you see any variables and methods in the HDFC bank? Do you see any variables and methods in the HDFC bank? No, you don't see any variables and methods in the HDFC bank. Don't see any variables and methods inside the HDFC bank. Now, if you use this object reference, it may seem like there are no variables and methods in the HDFC bank, but if I say object reference dot, I'm getting account type 1, account type 2, deposit money, and withdraw money. How I'm getting these methods? I'm getting these methods. How I'm getting these methods? By creating an object for the child class, I should be able to only access the variables and methods of the child class only, right? But here I'm able to access the variables and methods of the parent class also. Why? Because child class is inheriting the properties from the bank class. That's the reason. Here you can write some statement like this: system.out.println and HDFC bank object reference dot account type 1. Is there account type 1 visible here? No, but HDFC bank is inheriting the account type 1 from the parent class, bank class. Even though there is no account type 1, account type 2 here, but HDFC bank is a child class of the bank class. That is the reason you're able to access this inherited properties by the child class. By directly create an object for the child class, I'm able to access the properties of the parent class which are inherited by the child class. Okay, which are inherited by the child class. Okay, so this is how the inheritance works, guys. Again, HDFC bank dot open account HDFC bank dot deposit money, HDFC bank dot, all these methods and variables and members of the parent class are inherited by the child class by creating an object for the child class and by using the object reference of the child class. You see what is happening? We are able to access all the variables and methods, inherited variables and methods of the child class. Okay, child class inheriting these variables and methods of the parent class that you can access using the object reference of the child class. Okay, this proves what is inheritance. Now everyone clear what is inheritance? Guys, everyone clear how the inheritance will happen? We have to use extends keyword to make a particular class a child class of the another class. And once you make a particular class a child class of another class, all the variables and methods of the parent class will be inherited by the child class. And when you create an object for the child class, you can access all the inherited methods of the parent class by the child class. Okay. Clear? If it is clear, this particular example is clear, just type C in the chat box, guys. Everyone type C in the chat box.
And one question, when we extend the child class, does has to be the same parameter or the data type in both class?
I didn't get that. Come again.
I mean, when we extend, so suppose, for example, we extend here the bank as a child.
Yes.
So both in both class, does a parameter or data type has to be the same, or it can be different?
What data type you mean to say here? If you talk
Like
about
a string or integer, double, anything.
I'm not have to create anything, right? So what is the use of same? Am I creating anything inside the child class here?
Child class.
Is there any data type here mentioned?
No.
Then how can
No.
it be same or different? You cannot have the same or different, right? Simply whatever the variables and methods of the parent class will be inherited by the child class simply. Okay.
But okay. But
You
we
got
can
my-
add the.
What if you add the variables and
we can
methods you are
add
saying?
the
Here you
variable
don't
or
have to add
anything
that because the purpose of the inheritance is that this class has to inherit the properties of the parent class. Simple. Okay. For now, that is the thing. That one is clear for you?
Yeah.
There are a few more concepts that will come. I understand whatever you are expecting. What if can we have the same kind of properties in the child class? Okay.
Yeah.
Inheritance. That I will cover later. Okay. For now, just understand this. Where if I create a class and make that particular class a child class of another class, okay, the child class will inherit the properties of the parent class. So by using the object reference of the child class only, we can access the inherited properties of the parent class. Okay, we can access the inherited properties of the parent class. I mean, by creating an object for the child class, using that object reference, we can access all the inherited properties by the child class. That is what is inheritance. You have to understand. Using extends keyword, it is possible. So we are at the beginning level. We'll go next level, where you will understand all the questions. Okay, all your questions will be clear for you. I have demonstrated a child class which inherits the properties from a parent class. Is that part clear? How to make particular thing a child class and inherit the properties of a parent class, and how to access the inherited properties by creating an object for the child class is clear. Is that level is it clear for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be fine for now. Okay. Now, there is one more concept coming here. You have to focus here. Child class can have its own special properties. Here, in this example, did I create any special properties of the child class? No. All the properties of the parent class are inherited by the child class for now. But what if there are some special properties in the child class? What will happen? Let's see that. Okay. The second example, I'll take that. Same bank class only, I'll take the example as. Just see what is there. Right click here and see a new package and say .1 here. I'll just move all these things into the one. Just to save the time, I'll do one thing. Here I'll create one more package with the name. Instead of .1, I'll say .2, sub package as .2. And here in 2 also, I'll copy paste all these 3 things. Same items I'll copy paste. Okay, now so that I cannot use. You see, this one is for your reference purpose. Basic inheritance concept I covered in the one package. Now I'm going to go with the same classes. Same code is already written, right? A copy of that, a replica of that I have taken. HDFC Bank is there. And here demo class is there. Okay, same examples, but just see what I'm trying to do here. Okay. Now, bank is a parent class. HDFC is the child class of the bank class. Do you agree? Yes or no? Guys, yes or no? HDFC is the child class of the bank class. That's clear, no? So far that is clear. Now, bank class has account type 1, account type 2, and it has some methods like this. Now in HDFC, I'll create some special properties that are not there in the bank class. Uncommon variables and methods. Common variables and methods we have to move into the parent class, and the child class has to inherit them. But coming to that, child class can have its own special properties. For example, if you make this particular class as animal class, and here if I make some dog is a child class of the animal class, that's okay. But every animal cannot be same, right? For example, dog. If you talk about dog, here a bark kind of method I can write. If you say cat, okay, make sound kind of method I can write. Okay, everything. Okay, for example, butterfly, I'll say fly method will be there. Special properties will be there for other classes. For example, assume that HDFC Bank is there. What can be some special properties that can be in HDFC Bank and or not there in the another banks? Tell me, guys. Anyone know anything?
Minimum balance should be 5,000.
What is that?
Minimum balance should be 5,000.
Okay, minimum balance. Okay. Let's say in HDFC Bank, there's a concept of minimum balance. I'll say int minimum balance. Minimum balance is equal to 5,000 rupees, let's say. Okay. That's what is something that is there in HDFC Bank. It's not there in other banks. So it's a special property for the HDFC Bank. I created that. Some method. Public void open account online. Online way of opening account is there only in HDFC Bank, let's assume. And here I'll write HDFC Bank account open online. Okay, like that. Some special variable and special method I created here. Are these variables and methods are there in the parent class, or they are belonging to the child class only? They belong to the child class only, right? This minimum balance and open account online variable and method belong to the child class. These properties are not inherited from the parent class. In this kind of situation, if I have to access, if I create an object for the HDFC Bank child class, what are the different properties or members of the class I can access? HDFC Bank is equal to new HDFC Bank. I create an object for the HDFC Bank, and using the object reference, what are the different properties I can access? HDFC Bank is a child class of the bank class. So all the properties of the bank class will be inherited by the HDFC Bank. I don't have to recreate again. These are special properties. Now using the HDFC Bank, what are the different properties? Only inherited properties of the child class I can access, or only the special properties of the child class I can access? Or both?
Including the child class too. So both.
Yes, both is the answer, right? So here write down system.out.println HDFC Bank dot account type 1. Okay, this is an inherited property. Account type 1 is inherited by the HDFC Bank from its parent class known as bank. So I can access it. System.out.println HDFC Bank dot account type 2. I'm able to access. System.out.println HDFC Bank dot account type, not account type 2 are already done. So already inherited variables we have access. Minimum balance. You see, minimum balance is also coming. You are able to access a minimum balance. Both the parent and child class properties we are able to access by creating an object for the child class. Child class inherited properties from the parent class and its own properties we can access. No problem. Both the things. Both is the answer. HDFC Bank dot open account. HDFC Bank dot deposit money. HDFC Bank dot deposit money. HDFC Bank dot withdraw money. HDFC Bank dot open. You see, account online is also coming. Okay, the inherited properties from the parent class and the child class its own properties. All the things we can access with the help of object reference of the child class. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Everyone able to clear? Child class can have its own special properties that special properties of the child class and inherited properties of the parent class, both can be accessed when you create an object for the child class. Savings current, 5,000 minimum balance, bank account opened, money deposited in bank, money withdrawn from bank, HDFC bank account opened online. Okay, HDFC bank account open online. Everything is coming fine. So far, so good.
So Arun,
Yes.
we call the method from its parents class, right? From here, from being in the HDFC bank, we call the method from the bank class too, right? But if I call any like this online account method on this bank class, that is not possible, right?
That's not possible. You say a simple way to understand here is children can inherit the properties from their parents, but parents cannot inherit the properties from their children, right? You see,
Yes.
Once the parents or grandparents are demise, right, then the properties that belong to the parent legally will come to the children, right? That's what is the thing. So children properties will not go to the parents generally. Okay, it may go to their grandchildren, from parents to grandchildren. Okay, it will go. The inheritance will be like that, but reverse way it is not possible. The properties of the child class cannot be inherited by the parent class. Got it? Clear now?
Yes.
Parent to child is possible, child to parent is not possible. Correct, Praveen Kumar. You are right. Child to parent is not possible. Okay. Now, let's do one more thing. Here, I'm going to create one more package. I'll make the different things clear for you. Dot 3, I'll say. Dot 3, package 3 I'm creating. I'm copying all this from this to 3. Okay, bank demo. Open the bank, open the demo, open the HDFC bank. And HDFC bank here, that's fine. Now, what I'm going to do here is, where is the demo class? Demo class should be there here. HDFC bank should be there here. Okay, fine. Just be like this for now. Here we have the bank interface having some variables and methods. And here we have the HDFC bank, which is a child class of the bank interface. And HDFC bank has its own properties. Now, the thing is, I don't want to create an object for the HDFC bank. Rather, if I create an object for the bank class, what will happen? Bank is equal to new bank. If I create an object for the bank class directly, I'm not creating an object for the child class. I'm creating the object for the bank class. Now tell me, using this object reference of the bank class, what are the different properties I can access? Can I access the properties of the parent and child?
No, I think child you can, only parents.
Only parent class.
You can access only
Okay.
bank.
Yes, only bank related variables and methods I can access. I cannot access the child class specific, because here we directly create an object for the bank class. Bank class will not inherit any properties from the child class. So system.out.println, system.out.println, bank dot account type 1 is coming. System.out.println, bank dot account type 2 is coming. System.out.println, 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 bank dot is minimum balance coming. Can I access minimum balance here?
No.
No. You see, error is coming here. Okay, that's not possible, because bank is a parent class. Parent class will not inherit any properties from the child class. So if you create an object directly to the parent class, only the parent class properties can be accessed. Parent class properties or members can be accessed. So bank dot open account, bank dot deposit money, bank dot withdraw money is possible. But if you say bank dot open account online, this is not possible. You see, error will come. Error is coming, right? This is not possible. This is not possible. Not possible. Okay. Similarly, if I write system.out.println bank dot minimum balance, is also not possible. Error will come here. Okay. Not possible. Okay. That's the thing they have to understand. Everyone clear with this? You create an object for the child class. Okay, using the child class object reference, we can access both the inherited methods of the inherited members from the parent class to child class, and also child class specific members also we can access. But if you directly create an object for the parent class, Only the parent class related members we can access, but child class members we cannot access. Yes, only parent class properties can be accessible. Everyone clear? Just type C in the chat box. If everyone is clear, just type C in the chat box, guys, so that we can go to the next level.
For one thing.
Yes, Manju.
So sir, this like your HDFC bank extends parent bank, right?
Yes.
So instead of extending, we can use this parent. What are the variables or methods are defined in parent class? We can use it by you creating objects also, right, sir?
By creating objects means?
Like if you create object of this parent class.
Okay. But
so we can use those.
Where you want to use is a question.
If I want to use in HDFC bank, I just want to create a bank object so that I can use it.
Okay. For example, if you create bank object here in the HDFC bank, that's what you are saying instead of inheriting. Okay.
Yes.
You don't want to extend it. Let's assume that for a while. Okay. Yes. Bank is equal to new bank. You can say that's okay. You can access. Okay. So now system.out.println. System.out.println.
So no main method.
You see, you have to put this object creation, everything should be done inside a method again.
Main method.
Yeah, here you create main method, let's say. But why you want to do that?
So what is the difference? Like even though if we are extending, so then.
Yes, you are extending here. And if you want to use these properties of another class here, then your question is right. You have to create an object for the bank class. And when HDFC bank is not the child of the bank class, this extends keyword is not there. And if you still want to get these properties of the bank class here, then you can create the object. But our purpose is not like that. I told you one example already here, right? If you remember that, there may be multiple banks like this. You remember this example, HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, Citibank, HSBC Bank. Think about this example where every bank has the same variables and methods. So instead of recreating same variables and methods across multiple classes, there may be 100 banks tomorrow. How many lines will be there? How many lines will be there? Here 100 banks means, for example, 1, 2, this many lines. Okay. So almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Assume that 11 lines are there. Here I have to write 11 lines. Here I have to write same 11 lines. Here I have to write 7 lines. 100 banks are there. 100 bank classes are there. 100 into 11. 1100 lines I have to write. Right? 1100 lines I have to write. Instead of writing that 1100 lines, what I will do is this common variables and methods of every class is there, right? I'll create a parent class. I'll move that into the parent class. That 11 lines. Now I don't have to write the 11 lines in all the classes. And I will make these classes as child classes so that these classes will inherit the properties from the parent class. And whenever you want to access the properties of this HDFC bank or Axis bank, right? You just directly create an object because using the object reference of that particular child class, you can also access the properties of the parent class. Got it now? Why we are doing that?
Yes, sir. And another thing is, sir, here in demo, this class is there, right? This.
Yes, demo is there.
We can extend this bank class, sir, instead of creating object.
Yeah, you can. Instead of creating object for what?
So we extended this bank class in HDFC. Can we extend this bank class in this demo class also?
Yes, we can extend also. We can extend. Any class can extend any class.
So what is the maximum limits? Limits are the parent class can inherit.
There's no limit. There is no limit. Any class can extend any class.
So even though if you extend, we have to create object in order to access the parent class.
No, not required.
Okay.
So here I am showing you that the only reason I created an object here is inside this demo class with the main method here is that, okay, to show you that whether bank class is inheriting the properties of the parent class, yes or no. That's the only reason I created. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. But your question is something different. I'll tell you what is that question and what is the answer also. I'll tell you. Okay. Before we go there, I'll tell you. Okay. So here, what is the question? I'll tell you. Definitely, I will make it more clear for you. Yes. And slight kind of confusion there, but I'll try to clear it out. Okay. The only reason I created the demo class is to prove that if I create an object for the child class, I'm able to access is the child class is inheriting the properties from the parent class, yes or no. To prove that I create demo class and create an object for the child class, and using the child class object reference, I'm able to access both the properties of the parent and child class is something that I covered. What if I create an object for the directly bank class, that's the parent class, only the parent class properties we can access in the demo class, right? That's what I have shown you till now. But now I'll go with the next one. This will solve next level confusion for you. Here I'll say .4, fourth package, and here I'll create again I'll create this bank and HDFC bank related stuff. Okay, I'll just copy all this stuff and go to the 4 also. And here I'll remove the demo for a while. Bank is there, HDFC bank is there. Bank is a parent class, HDFC bank is a child class, right? Once you make a particular class, a child class of another class. Now here, if I write system.out.println, do you have to create an object here to access the properties of the parent class? Do you have to create an object here in the child class? In the child class, do you have to create an object to access the variables and methods of another class?
No.
Is it required? Not required. Okay, that's what is the confusion there for most of the people. So here, I'll create a method, guys. Public void. Okay, public void demo method or H method, I'll say some different name I'm giving. That's it. Okay, inside this method, what I'll write here is, or main method we can write. Okay, we can also write a main method maybe, but main method inheriting. Okay, what if we write main method here? Let's try the main method. Main control space. Let's write the main method and see what is happening. Here HDFC bank is the child class of the bank interface, and if I have to access the properties in the child class directly, instead of accessing demo class directly in the child class, if I want to access the inherited properties of the bank class, just I don't have to create an object, guys. Account type 1. Is there any error coming? Yes, error will come because these particular variables are not static. Static methods can only access static stuff. That's the problem. So I'll create a normal method otherwise. Public void sample HDFC, I'll say. This is not a static method. Just see here what is happening. Now here in this method, I'll write down system.out.println account type 1. Is there any variable with the name account type 1 in the child class? Is there any variable with the name account type 1 in the child class? No. There is no particular account type 1, but am I getting any error here? Am I getting any error when I am accessing the account type 1 of the parent class in the child class? Am I getting any error here? Directly account type 1 I am saying. I don't even have to create an object here because this is a child class. Okay, this is a child class of the bank class. All the properties of the parent class are part of the child class automatically, so I can directly access them. I don't have to use even an object also. I don't even have to create an object. System.out.println account type 2. You see, did I use any object reference for this bank class and accesses them? No. If I have to call the methods, directly open account, you have to say. Because open account, directly you can call this method, open account method you can call here. Okay, the way you call this open account method for example, in this inside the same class, if you have to access, call this open account from deposit money, what you will do? You'll simply write open account, right? But when you call this deposit money will call the open account method automatically. You see, directly you will write. Again, the same thing here also is that, okay, since HDFC bank is a child class of the bank, all these methods not only belong to the bank class, they also belong to the HDFC bank. They are also inherited. So assume that they are already there here. They are not visible, but they are already there. Once the HDFC bank is extending the bank in bank class, okay, these methods and variables are already there here. Assume that, okay. So that's the reason you are able to call them directly here inside one of the method. Deposit. You don't have to create an object reference. In this case, I don't have to create an object reference. Withdraw money. Okay, withdraw money like this. I'll say now I'll create I'll create demo class just for running the code. I will create the purpose I'm creating demo class is for running the code, guys. Demo class with main method I'll create. Inside the main method I'll simply call the sample HDFC method. How to call the sample HDFC method? Tell me how to call the sample HDFC method. I need to create an object for the HDFC bank. HDFC is equal to new HDFC bank. and using the object reference HDFC dot sample HDFC, if I say, what will happen? This particular method will call, and this particular method will internally access the parent class properties, and it will print it here. Savings, current, and open account will be called. Bank account open will be printed. Deposit money will be called money deposited in bank will be printed. Withdraw money will be called money withdrawn from bank will be printed. Right click run as the application and observe that what's happening. Is it working? Guys, is it working? The child
So you
class
are
inheriting the properties from the parent class. For that, you don't have to create the object. Okay, if the child class has to access the properties of the parent class, you don't have to create the object. If that is a parent class, directly you can access in the child class. You don't have to create any object there. Yeah, your question, Anisha?
So you are saying, yeah, if parents class has many child class properties, then automatically those are included in another class, right? Like for in the demo class. In the demo class, you have called the object as DFC bank. So all the properties inside those class is coming in this class, right? That's what you are trying to say.
No, that's not what I am trying to focus on. The main thing that I'm going to focus on is this parent and child classes. So if a particular class becomes a child of another class, all these properties
Yeah.
belong to the child class. So you can access them
Yeah.
directly. That's what is the main point I'm telling you. And I'm calling the sample HDFC. So in sample HDFC, the sample HDFC method is actually accessing all the properties of the parent class directly. You don't have to create an object here. That's what is the main point I'm trying to cover up.
So sample SDFC is from the parents class, right? Or
No,
it is from
it's
the
not
child?
from the parent class. It's only in the child class. Can you see any sample HDFC method in the parent class?
No, I mean I don't see this method in the bank.
Yes. So it's only there in the child class. It's only there in the child class, right? So why I have created a method is that, okay, whenever you want to write some code, right? In Java, logic should be written inside the methods. You cannot directly write inside the class. Okay. To show you that whether we are able to access these variables and methods of the parent class directly, okay, I created this method, and inside the method I created the logic. Okay, that's the reason I created the method.
Okay.
Got it now?
Yeah.
So simple thing is that if there is a particular class, if that class is a child class of a parent class, you don't have to create object to access the members of the parent class. You can directly access in the child class. Here account type 1, how did you access? Did I create object reference to access? Like bank is equal to new bank dot account type 1 did I say, or account type 1 I said? How did I write? Tell me guys. Directly account type 1. Anisha, you are getting my point here? Here, did I access the account type 1 using the object reference of the bank? Once I make this particular HDFC bank a child of the bank class, if HDFC bank is a child of the bank parent class, then do you have to create object reference to access the members of this parent class in the child class? No, directly you can access. Because all these members of the parent class are members of the child class only. Okay? You don't have to explicitly create an object and call them using the object reference. Okay? Here methods also, when I'm calling these methods in the parent class, did I use object reference like bank.open account, bank.deposit money, bank.withdraw money? Did I do that?
No.
No. Why? Because HDFC bank is a child class of the bank class. All the properties of the bank class are already there in the, assume that they're already there. Okay? Let's say assume that they are like this. Okay? Assume that they are like this. If they are like this, will you create object? Directly you will access account type 1, account type 2, right? Open account in the same class means. From any method, if you want to access the variables and methods of the same class, you directly access like this, right? Do you create an object? You will not create an object. So the same thing is there, whether these are not there or not doesn't matter. They are visible or not doesn't matter. When you create a particular class, when you make a particular class as child class of the parent class, all the properties of the parent class will be part of the child class already, and you can access them directly in the child class like this. You don't have to create an object. But if you want to access this parent and child class properties from any other class, then you have to create an object. Otherwise, it's not required. It's not required to create an object here. The child class can directly access the variables and methods. You don't have to create an object. If any separate other method, yeah.
If you create the method in the HDFC bank, like its own method.
Yeah,
Or
sample
property.
HDFC is its own method only.
Okay, okay. But we can add, okay. I'm just trying to maybe think in
Yeah,
deep.
yeah.
So that's
Try to think deep, no problem. Any confusion is there, you should not leave it out. You ask me, okay? Here, simple concept is HDFC bank is a child class of the bank class. So all the properties of the bank class are part of the child class also because they are inherited automatically. They are not visible, but they are inherited. If they are already part of the child class, do you have to create an object to access them? No, right? Directly I can call. The same way in the bank class also, if you have to access, for example, in this open account method, if I have to print this savings account type, so I'll simply write system.out.println account type 1, I'll say. Getting my point? Within the same class, if I have to access this variable, system.out.println account type 1, I'll say, do I have to create an object for the bank class to access this account type 1 within the same class? Anisha, what do you say? They have to create an object for the bank class to access a variable of the same class. We have to do that.
no.
No, you don't have to create an object for the variable of the same class. Similarly, what is happening here is this HDFC bank is a child class of the bank class. So all these members are also part of this child class, inherited by the child class, even though they are looks like it's not there, but they are there. That's why you directly access them. Got it now? You directly access the methods, directly call the methods, directly access the methods like that. Okay. Here also I can do that. For example, in open account is part of the same class. I can do like this. System.out.println account type 1. Account type 1. I don't have to create an object for the bank class to access the variables and members of the same class. I don't have to do that. System.out.println account type 2. Account type 2. In this method, I'm accessing all the variables and methods of this class. Here I'll say deposit money. I can directly call the method because this particular method belongs to the same class. Similarly, I can say withdraw money. This withdraw money also belongs to the same class. So I can directly call them, right? See, same thing I'm doing here, right? Here also, I am not creating object reference. Here also, I am not creating an object reference to access the variables and methods of this bank class. But to write these statements, we need a method, yes or no? To write these print statements and methods, do we need a method, yes or no? Here we have used open account method of the same class. But here in another class, which is child class of the bank class, can I write this outside the class, outside the method? All these statements can I write outside the method? Not possible. This statement should be written inside the method only. That's why I created this method. And to show you that these properties also belong to the child class, we can directly access them like this. Okay, you don't have to create. Here, did you create an object to access account type 1, account type 2, or deposit money or withdraw money? Did you create an object within the class? No. Similarly, here also you don't have to create the object because this is a child class of the parent class, means all the properties of the parent class are part of the child class. If they're already part of the child class, you can access them directly without creating object. Clear? Clear for you now? Is it clear for you now? Anisha, is that clear for you now?
Yes, yes.
Anyone have any other questions in this area? Anyone have any
So
questions? Yes, Ram.
So can we extend the child class?
Yes, we can extend the
Is
child
it
class
possible?
also. Yes, we can
So
create chaining is possible. Bank class is a parent
No,
of
sir,
HDFC bank. Another, for example, HDFC bank has some sub kind of HDFC has its own entities. Let's assume you can create a one more
Okay.
and make that class extend HDFC bank also. Multiple levels is possible. You see,
Okay,
we can write,
here
your question is something like this. I'll tell you. There may be 3 classes like this. This is class A. This is class B. This is class C. Okay. Class B is extending class A. Class B is the child class of the class A. And class C is the child class of class B. So what happens? For example, class A has 2 properties and class B has its own one special property. Now class C has its own one property. Then total how many properties by creating an object for the class C? from demo class or another class, if I create an object for the class C, how many properties I can access?
4.
4 is the answer, right? All the properties of the grandparent will come to the parent, and from the parent, this 2 and plus 1, 3, 3 plus 1, total 4 will be there here. 3 will be inherited from the parent or grandparent, and 1 will be its own. So total 4 properties. By creating an object for the grandchild, we can access all these 4 properties. Got it now? Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Arun, here, do we create the object for the last, like the 4th one?
This one?
Yeah, I mean, like we do not create the object for that is
Already
inheritance
you are creating this class with a different intention. Okay, there's a problem here. The intention is to run the code. Okay, to run the code, we are creating this kind of stuff. Okay, what is the use of creating? You can create object, but there's no use of that. That's what I can say. But here, if you create an object, right, this is not a child of any of these classes, so it's a separate entity. Got it?
Yeah.
It's not the child of only these 3 are the. This is the child of this one. This is the child of this one. This is a parent of this one. This is a parent of this one. Okay. But this is not a child or parent of any of this stuff. This is only purpose is to run the code using some main method and all. Okay. If you create main method and create an object for this child class, grandchild class, you can access all the properties of the parent and grandparent and its own properties also. Okay. That's what I want to do. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, any other questions? Can we extend 2 classes? Janavi is asking me, can we extend 2 classes? No, we cannot extend 2 classes. Here, this is not possible. Okay, this is possible. This kind of grandchild, parent, grandparent is possible. But this is not possible. What is not possible? Parent class is there. There are multiple parent classes. There is one class. And this one class want to inherit the properties from this parent class. This class want to inherit the properties from this class. This kind of thing is not possible. Got it? A class cannot have 2 parents. A child class cannot have 2 parents at the same time. You see here, after extends, how many classes I gave here? How many classes I mentioned here after HDFC Bank extends bank? How many classes I gave here? 1 or 2?
1 class.
Only 1. Can I put comma here and extend 1 more class? That is not possible in Java. Got it? Clear? HDFC Bank at a time can extend only 1 class as a parent class. It cannot, multiple parents cannot exist. Okay, that is not possible. Got it? I think Jahnavi's question is clear. Okay.
Yes, sir.
At a time, multiple classes cannot be extended. Only 1 class can be extended. Okay, by the child classes.
Sir, I have a question. So if a subclass wants to replace any of the variable or a method in its own, can it be done, or if it won't be a subclass anymore?
When a subclass, what is the question again? Come again.
Like if a subclass wants to change any variable or method in its own, like suppose if an HDFC banks wants to change the string account type to recurrent, something like that.
Okay.
Can it be done, or is it not a subclass anymore?
That will discuss
Because it
in
is not
overriding
inheriting
concept. That's we are going to discuss in
Okay.
overriding concept. Okay. So just wait for
Okay.
that. Once you are good with this, right? I'll go to the overriding concept. That's what is all overriding all about. Maybe you see what happens is bank class may have its own implementation. Definitely that will be inherited by the child classes. But now HDFC Bank want its own implementation for something. Then what to do? Overriding is the example for that. Okay, solution for that. So that kind of behavioral changes of variables and methods we can do in the child classes. I'll tell you. I'll explain you in detail in the upcoming. Maybe overriding, I don't think I can do it today. Maybe in tomorrow session I'll cover overriding, guys. Okay. Today only inheritance, and few more things about inheritance is there that I'll cover tomorrow. For today, this much, guys. For today, this much of inheritance is enough. So what are the pending topics? I'll write down here for tomorrow. Constructors in detail are completed. And the pending topics are like this. That is, till now, in inheritance, what I covered parts are like this. That is, create object for child class and access all the members of both its in parent and child. This is what we have done, right? We have created an object for the child class in demo class, and using that object reference, we are able to access both the members of the parent and child classes. What if you create an object for parent class directly? Can you access the members of both parent and class, or only parent class members we can access?
Both.
If you create object for the parent class, can you access the members of the using the object reference of the parent class? Can we access the members of the child class?
Yes.
Only parent.
Only parent. And access only the members of parent class only. Okay, child class members cannot be accessible. Now there will be one more situation where I'll create an object for child class object I'll create and assign that to parent class variable. This concept I'll cover tomorrow. Okay, variable. Here I create an object for the child class and assign to the variable of the child class, and using that object reference we can access both the members of the parent and child. But if you create an object for the direct parent class and assign to the variable of the same parent class, using that object reference we can only access the parent class variables and methods, but not child class variables and methods. And what if you create an object for the child class and assign that to the variables of the parent class? Using this object reference, can you access the members of the what kind of members you can access is something question mark that I'm going to cover tomorrow. That is the only thing that is left out in inheritance. And coming to the next one is overriding. Okay, there's one more thing like in inheritance followed by inheritance. I'm going to cover overriding tomorrow. Okay, so overriding will with overriding, what are the properties of the parent class that we can duplicate in the child class, and can we modify the behavior of the parent class stuff? Okay, so few things I'll try to repeat tomorrow. Okay, to make you guys understand. But this is what I want to cover tomorrow. Inheritance and overriding I'm not able to completely cover today. So these things I'll make it for tomorrow, guys. Okay, inheritance and overriding I'll cover it tomorrow. Clear, everyone? Is that fine? Yes, great. Okay, so practice, guys. Practice will make you give more clarity. Okay, child class can access the properties of the parent class without even creating an object. That's one thing. Okay, and if you create one more external class and try to run the code with main method and try to create an object for the child class directly, and using the object reference of the child class, you can access the members of both parent and child classes. And if you in the demo class, if you try to create an object for the parent class and using the object reference, you can only access the members of the parent class only, but child class members you cannot access. But child class object reference we can use to access both members of the parent and child, but direct parent class object reference only the members of the parent class can be accessed. But one more scenario is left out where we are going to create an object for the child class and assign that to the variable of the parent class. In such kind of situation, what will happen? It's like a hybrid kind of stuff. Okay, here what we are doing, guys, here HDFC bank, HDFC is equal to new HDFC bank means we are creating an object for the child class and assigning that to the variable of the parent class. Sorry, assign that to the variable of the same child class only. In that case, using this object reference, all the members of the parent and child class I can access. A sample HDFC is the member of the child class. Similarly, you can write system.out.println like this. Also, we can write system.out.println HDFC.account type 1. I can access like this also. You see, here sample HDFC is a member of the child class. Account type 1 is a member of the parent class. Both the members of the parent and child classes we can access by creating an object for the child class and assigning to the variable of the same child class. You can access both the members of the parent and child classes. Here I can say HDFC dot open account, HDFC dot deposit money, HDFC dot withdraw money. Okay. Similarly, sample HDFC also you can call sample HDFC, which is part of the child class also we can access. But what if you create an object for the What if you create an object for the one minute, where is that? I have to open all demos. Yeah, here. What if you create an object for the bank class directly, which is a parent class? What if you create an object for the bank class, which is the object of the parent class directly?
Only
Access parent objects and methods.
Only the properties of the parent class can be accessible. Okay. Here bank is called new bank, means here we are creating an object for the parent class and assigning to the variable of the same bank class, parent class only. Okay. Parent class bank is called new parent class object. Okay. In that case, only the properties of the parent class can be accessible. Child class properties cannot be accessible. But what if I write something like this? Okay. For a while, I'll show you. What if I write something like this? The object I am creating for HDFC Bank, and assigning to the variable of the parent class bank. In this case, what will happen is a question. In this case, what can be accessible is a question. Okay, that I am going to reveal tomorrow. Got it? Getting my point, guys? Here, object is created for child class, but assigned to the variable of the parent class. It's like a hybrid kind of thing, right? It's like a hybrid kind of stuff that I'm going to cover tomorrow. Okay, so don't worry about that today. That will be covered for you tomorrow. Okay. So for now, this much is enough. When you are creating an object for the child class, both the properties of the parent and child class you can access using the object reference of that particular child class. And if you directly create an object for the parent class and using that object reference, only the properties of the parent class you can directly access. Child class properties you cannot access using the object reference of the child class and parent class. What if the next case is like, what if you create an object for the child class and assign to the variable of the parent class? In that case, what is the stuff? Yes. WebDriver is called new Chrome driver. That is a case that will come in Selenium automation, but we are not there now. Okay, that's all for today, guys. That's all for today. Hope you have learned something new today. Try to repeat these sessions, guys. This session, yesterday's session and today's session is also very important. And partially I covered inheritance, partially I covered polymorphism today. Okay, 4 object-oriented concepts are 2 object-oriented concepts completely covered. That is object and class. 2 object-oriented classes concepts like polymorphism in that overriding is left out. In inheritance, like this small topic is left out. Okay, tomorrow we'll be completing 4 object-oriented concepts when we complete this the remaining part of inheritance, that is assigning the object of the child class to the variable of the parent class and overriding also. Okay, these are the 2 things that are left out that I'm going to complete tomorrow. After this inheritance and overriding, I think we have access modifiers or some kind of topic. I have to see that. Okay. If required, we'll go there. Okay. Guys, that's all for today then. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time and continue with the next topics. I'll upload this code into the repository in a while and also upload the recording also into the drive. Okay. Both I will do.
Arun.
Yes.
I'm sorry. A quick question. Can you show me how to organize those sub packages?
Sub packages is very easy. For example, if you have a package here, right click on the existing package and say new package, and here put a dot and write that. Okay. Here also you can create one more sub package under this 4 also if you want. Okay, right click new package, and here constructors pack.4 is there, right? Then again say dot, say a pack. Okay. Some sub pack a pack will be created under that. I just cancelled it. Got it, right? Okay. Just to organize the stuff in a better way. Okay. In our home, right? And if you have some shelves, it will not be like racks or shelves or some cupboards will be there, right? In that only one partition will not be there. Against multiple partitions will be there, right? So this kind of stuff. Sub partitions.
Yeah, and what was the use of these 3 dots?
What is the use of?
On top. Those 3 dots on the top corner.
These 3 dots, some settings will come. Project settings will come. So here, package presentation, if you go with hierarchical, right, parent and child kind of format it will come. Okay. Like many settings are there here. You don't have to learn all the settings. Okay. This setting I have used it. Okay. So if you are not getting this way, right, constructors pack under that 4, 1, 2, 3, you are not getting means you are in the flat. Flat means it will come like this. Constructor pack.4, constructor pack.1. I don't want this. This is not the correct way, right? So I want this hierarchical will look way better. Like, you know, package under that sub packages. It looked very good for me. Okay, so I'll go with that.
Yes.
The settings for the projects will be there here. Okay, remaining you don't have to do anything. So many settings are there. You don't have to learn that. It's all Eclipse settings. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, welcome all. So see you tomorrow at the same time, and we'll continue with the next topics. Okay. Bye everyone.